Hey, I hope you're having an incredible day. Today I'm going to be running you through this Vapi setup that I've created within Make. This not only connects to your Calendly to be able to book appointments, but it also connects to GoHighLevel. So you can add that new client directly to a workflow that'll have an automated sequence follow up with them. I'll just give you a high level overview of what each of these different branches do within Make. So we have our Vapi agent here, which is an appointment setter. And so essentially, if they wish to book an appointment, we need to get their name, the purpose for their meeting, their email, their phone number. And after that, it's going to ask them for a 30-minute time slot. So it's going to check the availability, and that's what's going on right here. So it's going to run through this initial steps. The issue is that Vapi doesn't know the current date and time. So first we need to get the current date and time, and then we check that within our Calendly calendar. So this is our Calendly connection. It is going to loop through the different times and send the output back to Vapi to say, hey, these are the available times. And if that time is available, it's going to reserve that time slot in the calendar. So it's going to create a Google Meet meeting and notify the Vapi agent that this actually went through properly. And then it'll confirm all the details with the client over the phone. And once that's done, it will send you a confirmation email letting you know that this client was booked in successfully. And also it is going to create that contact in GoHighLevel and then add them to whatever workflow campaigns that you have going on at the current moment. So it's super powerful. There's a lot to cover in this, but I promise if you watch this video from start to end, I'll break down everything that you need and make it very clear and very simple. All you need to do is follow the steps, and you'll be able to do exactly the same setup that I have here. I also created this Vapi quick start guide, which details all the different tools and how you can configure them. It has the different Calendly API points, as well as the API access, the steps you need to follow, the scopes you have, as well as the beginner appointment setter system prompt and the advanced appointment setter system prompt. So if you are in my community, follow along with this quick start guide. Now we are going to create a new scenario within Make. So you're going to come up here, you're going to click create scenario, and we are going to be creating a webhook. So it's going to be a custom webhook, not the mail hook. Make sure you click custom webhook, and you're going to add, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it Vapi 3, and you're just going to hit save. That's going to generate a URL for you, and that's going to be important in the coming steps. So now we're going to want to go over to Vapi, and you can just sign up for an account. And then this is the dashboard that you'll be greeted with when you sign in. I just want to give you a high level overview of everything on this platform. So the assistants is where you'll create your different assistants, and your assistant will have a first message. You can choose the provider, the model type that you're using, and then based on the model type that you're choosing, it will affect the cost. You have a knowledge base where you'll be able to add files, increase and decrease the temperature. The lower the temperature, the more it will stick to your script. And you'll also be able to load in your system prompt here. And this is, I guess, what the steps that the assistant will follow in order to achieve its goal. Now, we have a transcriber. So this is what's the transcription service. You can see it here. You can see the breakdown. So this is what Vapi charges. This is the transcriber. This is GPT-4, the model that we're using. And then this is 11 Labs voice module. So here's your transcription. You can choose a different transcriber if you want. I've just left it on this. In your voice, you have the different providers, all the different voices available, and the model that you'll choose. I choose 11 Turbo V2.5. Here you have additional configurations for the voice, so you could put an office background if you wanted, as well as, mess around with these other settings and mess around with the stability, the clarity, all of those sorts of things. If you want to have filler words like yeah, make it sound more natural, I have them all set to off, but you can mess around with that if you want. And then within functions, you have tools. So a tool is a certain action that's going to occur. So in my original automation right here that we're going to be building out from scratch, you'll see that every tool that is being used, so let's say we want to get the availability, we create a get availability tool, and then that'll trigger this webhook and send it down this sequence of events to occur to get the availability. When we want to book a call into Google Calendar, then it's going to come down this route and use the booking tool, right? And when we want to send the confirmation email, it's going to trigger the confirmation email and send it down the confirmation email route. So you also have some predefined functions. You have the ability to forward the phone number. So if you did want to forward it to a human, you could input that here, and then you would just add it as an action within your assistant. So within your model, you would add a step that says, transfer to human, use the transfer tool, and it would be able to transfer it to this forwarding number. Then if you go into some more of the advanced features, you can configure, the silence timeout, how long the delay in seconds. You have your messaging, so you have the server URL. So this is the URL that we just created right here. It's going to be sending requests, and then you have client messages, server messages, as well as you could leave a voicemail if you hit the voicemail, and an end of call message as well. And then you also have the idle messages. If someone's not responding after a certain amount of time, you can input your idle messages here. Then you also have the analysis, which is the summary of the call at the end that can be shared. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention is for your voice configuration, when you're trying to choose your voice, you can just come into the voice library, and then from there you can choose which provider you want to use and listen to all the different voices if you want. As you can see, there are a ton to choose from, so mess around and find the one that works for you. Right here on the side is where you'll input your knowledge base, and this will be the nuts and bolts of what your business is. Within tools, this is where we'll be creating the different tools that will be firing this webhook and achieving this action. And then you have squads, and a squad is when you pair multiple assistants together. So let's say you had a receptionist and you had a booking agent, then the receptionist could answer all of the frequently answered questions. And then when it's time to book them into a call, that's when the booking agent would be able to book them. So with that being said, let's dive in. Let's create our first model. We're going to be starting off with the simpler assistant first. So in order to do that, we'll create the beginner appointment setter. So you'll just write in beginner appointment setter. I'm choosing blank template, and we're going to create the assistant. Now we are loaded in here. The first thing I'm going to do is change the model to GPT-4o cluster. I'll leave the temperature the same. First message I'm going to use is, "Hi, this is Mary. How can I assist you today?" For the system prompt, I'm just going to bring in a very simple prompt. And the whole reason for this is initially we just want to fire our webhook so that we get data in there. And then from there, we'll build out our more complex appointment setter. And yeah, so it'll make sense. Just follow along and it'll all make sense. So for this booking appointments, we're just asking for the full name, the purpose, and the preferred date and time for the appointment. And then we're going to be running the booking tool. So now we are going to be creating all our tools. So we'll come here into tools. Now I already have some of them built out, but for this, I will be building new tools so you can follow along. We're going to be building everything with Make. So the first tool we're going to be building out is booking. So we'll need the server URL. So we'll come in here, we'll copy that webhook that we just created, and we'll drop it in here. We'll hit save. And now we are going to describe the different properties that we want Vapi to capture and log for us, right? This is the information. So we're going to have name, obviously. We need the user's name, and it's going to be the user's name. We'll hit save. We'll add another one. It's going to be email, and that will be the user's email. We'll go ahead, we'll hit save on that too. Then next up, we are going to have purpose. So this is going to be the purpose for the meeting. We'll save that. Then we need the phone number, and this will be the phone number of the user. We need the date of that booking, and this is going to be the date and time for the meeting in ISO 8601 format. We'll hit save. Now we can go next. Now it's going to ask us what this tool is for. So this tool books meetings, and we're going to call it booking. I'm going to call it 3 since I already have 2 other bookings, but you would just write booking, and we're going ahead and click create. And congratulations, you've just built your first tool within Vapi. So now that we have this, we need to get it to fire properly, right? So we're gonna come on over to our assistant, to our beginner appointment setter that we just created. We can choose our voice. So I usually like the 11 Labs ones. So I'll keep it on Sarah for now. And we'll come into functions. We need to select that tool that we just created so that it knows to fire that tool. So here we have it here, booking 3. And if we go into advanced, we want to turn off some of these client and server messages. One that's really important to turn off is transcript. Otherwise, you'll just constantly have this webhook firing and it's going to use up all your operations in Make, and we don't want that. So we're going to want to have function call. You can get rid of conversation update. We'll want hang, so it has the ability to hang up. We want metadata. You can keep speech update. And then we're going to want tool calls and tool call results. Those are the two really important ones for triggering our tools. And then on the server messages side of things, end a call report, function call, hang, and then we'll just keep tool calls as well. And that's all we're going to need. And we'll hit publish. And now those changes have taken place. You want to make sure you're on web mode when you're testing, and then when you're ready to deploy, you can buy a phone number under the phone numbers and choose either Twilio or Vonage. And so now we are just going to run through the initial steps in the outline that we created, and it's going to follow exactly this, and then it's going to run the booking tool, which should trigger this webhook. And we're just going to want to make sure that we'll run this once. We'll hit OK here. We'll save it. So we'll call this Vapi demo. Make sure you save, and then we'll run this once. It's going to wait. And now we can hop on the call with our assistant.
Hi, this is Mary. How can I assist you today?
I'm looking to book an appointment.
Great. I'd be happy to help with that. Can I get your full name, please?
Yeah, Kevin Hogan.
Thank you, Kevin. What is the purpose of your appointment?
Looking to grow my business.
Got it, Kevin. What's your preferred date and time for the appointment?
Let's do August 29th, 2024. And so now you can see right here that it was successful. It triggered properly. You can see the tool calls that were passed, the function being booking 3, and the date, the name, and the purpose that were passed. And so that's all we needed in order to build out this further. So now we're going to toss in a router, and a router is just simply going to send it down different paths based on the tool that we're using. So the different tool will have a different path, and then that'll have a set of actions that need to occur in order to either book the client or check your availability or push them into GoHighLevel into one of your custom campaigns. So the first one we'll build out is booking. So we're going to click here, set up a filter, set it to booking, and the condition is going to be tool calls, function, name, right? And then we'll say equal to booking 3 because that's the name of the tool. And so now it knows to come down this path whenever we are ready to book. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is actually create that meeting. So you can click the Google Meet module right here. We'll click create a meeting. So you'll just add a connection, you'll sign in with Google, and that's it, and you'll be connected. Now you need to choose your calendar ID as well as the event name. So we'll say meeting with, and now we'll go tool calls, function, arguments, name. So we know that who the meeting is with. And it won't be an all-day event. So now we'll have to get the start date, which is going to be the date that we've created here. We'll come into the calendar. We're going to have to do minutes, and same thing. We'll do back into here, message, tool calls, function, arguments, date, and we'll toss in an additional 30 minutes on top of that, setting it to a 30-minute meeting. Send the notification to all guests. So now it's going to create that Google Meet, and then we're just going to send a webhook response back to Vapi, so Vapi knows, hey, this meeting was booked successfully. And so this is the body that you're going to want, and you're going to want your tool call ID. So to get that, you would just come in here, message, tool calls ID, and then the result that's going to be passed back is that the meeting was booked successfully. In order to get this body of text and have it formatted properly, right, you would come over here and you can just copy that, and you'll see the format right here, and that's where I'm getting that from. All right, so congrats, we have our booking created. And so now that we have that initial setup, we'll hop back into Vapi, and we have the beginner appointment setter done. So the next thing that we are going to want is the advanced appointment setter. So I'm just going to copy this prompt, We're going to create another assistant. We'll call it advanced appointment setter, blank template. We'll hit create assistant and we'll just copy the same. Oh yeah, another thing to note is sometimes you get these blank messages and all you have to do is hit refresh and it'll populate again. So you see now it came back. So we'll copy this first message and we'll drop this in the system prompt. And then same thing, you're gonna have to configure all the settings again. So we'll add GPT 4.0 cluster. We'll go to the voice. We'll choose the voice that we want. We'll put it on 11 turbo. And then in functions, we'll have to create some new tools. So we'll do that now. So we'll go into tools. So we have our booking one that's created now. Go to new tool. We'll have the same server URL. So come back into here, copy that address, head back into Vapi, paste in your server URL. We're gonna hit save and go back. Make sure you choose make as the provider. Now you're safe to go. So hit save. We'll go next. And so now we're going to do the check availability one. You don't actually need any properties to be passed for this because it's just checking availability. So I'll call it check availability. The description is going to be this. So this tool looks to see which time slots are reserved and therefore unavailable for meetings. We'll hit create. And I'm just going to rename this the check availability 2 since I already have a check availability, and hit save. And now if I refresh, we should see check availability 2. Perfect. All right, so now we have that created. And now we're going to also create the confirmation email. So same thing, grab your webhook, head back into here, hit save. We're gonna go next. And now we are going to need the name. It's going to be the user's name. We're going to need email, which will be the user's email. We are going to need the purpose, which will be the purpose for the meeting. And we are going to need the phone number, which is going to be the phone number of the user. Let's save. We'll go next. It's going to ask you the name of this tool. So we have confirmation email. I'm going to put 2 since I already have one. And say this tool is used to leave a note for the owner. Create. And now we have all our tools created. So now we can head back to our assistant, to the advanced appointment setter under functions. And we're going to select all those tools. So confirmation email, check availability, and booking. Now we have all of them added. Make sure you come back into your advanced settings so that you can remove the transcript, add tool calls, and tool call results. You could also remove conversation updates, and that's pretty much it. Keep that as is, and then server messages, we want to just include tool calls. You can remove status update, and then we'll have end of call, function call, and hang as well. And once again, add all of them that we added before. So the idle message, the end of call message, and the voicemail message. And we'll hit publish. Now all of those changes should have been saved. Now we can head back into our webhook. And because the data structure is the same, we're going to create 2 more paths. So obviously we're going to need to get the availability, and the condition is going to be the same that we set before, right? Set it to the name, except this time it's going to be get availability 2 because that's the name of our tool. Sorry, it's check availability 2. So you want it to match the name of your tool. So just like that, we'll hit OK. And then we're also going to need a third route, which is going to be our confirmation email. The same thing, enter in a label. The condition is going to be the same thing. So tool calls, function name, and then it's going to be confirmation email 2. And we'll hit OK, save that. And that's pretty much it. So now we have the 3 routes configured, and we're going to be building out the getting availability portion now and connecting it to Calendly. And then once we have that Calendly portion built out, we'll work on the third part, which is the most complex part, but also one of the most important parts, which is adding them as a contact in GoHighLevel, or adding them to your CRM, and then adding them to an automated workflow so that we can nurture them. And let's say, it could be simple, just follow up and provide some sort of nurture campaign for them. So I'm going to want to make a request. So we're going to do an HTTP request. Use this one right here, make a request. And then the URL is going to be this. So worldtimeapi.org, API time zone America, New York. So replace this with your time zone if you're not sure what your end will be. So it's worldtimeapi.org/time zones. And you'll see all the different time zones. So find the one of where you're located, and then you'll just copy that portion and add it to the end after time zone, that you get the correct time zone that you're in. And the method is going to be get because we want to grab it, and we are going to want to parse the response. And then I just have the body type set to raw and JSON, and that's it. And we'll hit OK. So again, make sure you save your work as you build and as you go. Now the next portion, we are going to be connecting to Calendly. So I used an HTTP request. So again, choose the same thing, make a request. Now we're going to need the URL for Calendly. So it is right here. We want to list the user's busy times. So if you go into developer.calendly.com, under availability, you can list the user's busy times, and we're going to be grabbing those because that's what we want to see. So you'll see that right here, this is the URL that we're going to be connecting to. So we'll grab that URL, we'll paste it in here. We'll evaluate all states as errors to 0 to no. Then we're going to need a couple headers. So the first header is going to be content type, application, JSON. If you're wondering where these are coming from, you can see it in the request content, right? So you have the URL, you have the content type, and then you can see, you know, the different types of requests, whether it's OAuth or whether it's security, bearer auth. So that's the one that we're using today, as well as the query parameters. Yes, so then we're going to, the next step we're going to need is the authorization portion that you see here. This is where you'll enter your API key and authorization. And you're going to write bearer. Now we need to get that value. So in order to get that value, we're going to have to create it. So to do that, you would just hop into your Calendly account, and you'll have this button on the side, integration and apps, then APIs and webhooks. So you'll click there, and then you'll just generate your new token right here. You can see mine's already created, and then you'll only get access to it once. So make sure you save it somewhere safe and don't share it with anyone. And then you'll come back and just paste it in right here. All right. Now we're going to do the query. So the string. So once again, the query parameters are right here. So we need the user and the start and end time. So name first is going to be user. So where we get the user ID. So it's actually, if you come down here to users, you're going to click on get current user, and then you'll paste in your token. You'll hit send API request, and then it's going to output right down here where it says URI. It's going to output this code. So we are going to copy that, and we'll head back into our make. All right. And then right there, you're just going to paste it in. So that's going to be your user code or your URI. You're going to put it right there. Now after, for name, so if we go back to the Calendly developer and we go back to our list user busy times section, you'll see that in the query parameters, we have a start time and an end time. So the first one that we're going to write is start time. And then the value is we need to get some data into our previous step. So we're just going to click here. We're going to go run this module only. Now that is completed. And if we click back into here and go down to our values, we should see data date time. And that is the correct format that we wanted in. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to add is end time. So we'll just come in here, type that in. And now we're just going to enter a formula. So once again, if you come and click on this little calendar icon, you should see something called format date. And you'll see here a couple of examples showing you how it's done and the different formatting that it's going to provide you with. And so we are going to need to add days as well. So we're going to format the date. And so we're adding days to, hop back in here, the data, date, time, and the amount of days that we're going to add is 7. And then lastly, we'll specify the date format request that we'd like it in. So it's going to be this right here, the year, the month, the day, and time, hour, minutes, seconds, just like that. So just type it in exactly like this and it'll work for you. And then after that, we're going to set the content type to application JSON. And then we want to make sure that we parse the response. And then like that, it'll be able to grab all of the busy times that we have. So we'll hit OK. We're going to hit save. Now, the next thing that we want to do is add in an iterator. And once again, we are going to need to get some data in order to pass that. So we are going to click off for a second. We'll click into make a request on the previous step, and we're going to run this module only, and then it's asking for a date time. So what you can do is click here, go into your data, copy this date time, and then we'll use that to populate this request right now. Make sure there's no blank spaces before, like that, so it's properly formatted, and then we'll hit OK to run it. All right, so it wasn't firing properly because I had a space right here. So just that's why it's so important to have the exact formatting. So found it now. Now it should work. So we'll hit OK, we'll save it, and then we'll run it again using that date time again. So just like that, we'll hit OK, boom. Now it should have, oh, we still got an error. All right, so I accidentally didn't put a period here. So once again, got to be careful of that. We'll hit OK, and now it should work. We'll run this module we'll paste in that date time, we'll hit OK, and now we get the 200 status code, so we're in business. And if we come into here, we'll just add the data collection, just like that. So now it's going to iterate. So to explain what's happening here, it's going to iterate over the items in this data collection. So it's going to go through each of these times that are added here. Those are the busy times on the calendar, and then we'll use a text aggregator just like that, because we're going to aggregate all that string into some text now. So the source module is going to be the step before the iterator, and then we're going to write another formula. So this is going to be start. Going to come back up to our calendar here. We're going to click on format date, and then we want the start time that is going to be passed in the iterator. So you can see here we have start time. So we're going to grab that right now. Okay. And then you can see once again, it provides you with some formatting. So the format that we are going to use here is the following. So there's our start date and how it's formatted. I'm going to enter in the end, and it's going to be the same thing. So click back on your calendar, format date, and we're going to grab the end time now, which is right here. Perfect. And we are just going to copy that from here and paste it in right here. Perfect. We'll hit OK. So now it's going to loop through our busy times and then give us the start and end time dates. After that, we are going to create some JSON, because that's what the webhook understands. And so to do that, I'm just going to hop back in this file, and then we'll grab the tool calls formatting again. So we're going to copy that from here, and we'll head back into here, and we'll go add for the data structure. We are going to want to click on generate, and then this is the sample data that we're going to provide it with, which is what we just copied. We'll hit generate. It should generate everything properly. You won't have to change anything. You'll hit save, and then you'll see it has created a data structure for you. And now when you hit add, it'll provide you with the tool call ID and the result. So now we're going to grab that message tool calls ID from the first step, which is your custom webhook that's firing. And then we're going to write booked hours in whatever time zone that you're in, right? So New York time zone, and we're going to input that text that is going to be output. And once we have that, we need to pass the request using the webhook back to Vapi to let it know that, hey, these are the busy hours. And for that, we just grab the JSON string, we save it, and there you go. So now it can get the availability, and then after it's gotten the availability, it'll book you into a call. So that's pretty massive, and we're almost there. The only thing that's left is the GoHighLevel integration. And that is actually really difficult, or not difficult, but it's the most difficult step out of all of these. But if you follow this exactly how I'm doing it right now, then you will be able to figure out how you can do it yourself. All you got to do is follow the same steps that I'm doing. And if you are stuck on a step, then you can always shoot me a message, drop in the comments. I'll do my best to respond. I really try hard to respond to every comment. So I'm happy to help you guys. Okay, so now we're on the advanced appointment setter. So now if we talk with the assistant again, and we have the right functions on, it should trigger this automation right here. So we're going to turn this on right now in make, right? And then we'll see if it fires properly. We're going to back out, and we'll be able to see if any executions are running. So I'm going to come in here, and now we're going to call it. We're going to follow the steps in the booking process, and we should be able to get to here, which is reserve the time slot in the calendar, and also check the availabilities. And to show you that that works, we are going to use September 4th as our date, because there's some appointments on there. So first we're going to try a time that I'm booked for, and then it shouldn't work. And then we're going to try a time that I am available for, and it should work, and it should book us into a call. So let's test it out right now. So this is live. We'll head on over to Vapi, and we will talk with our advanced appointment setter.
Hi, this is Mary. How can I assist you today?
I'm looking to book a meeting.
Sure thing. What's your first name?
Kevin.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. What's the purpose of the meeting, and can I get your email for confirmation?
I'm just looking to grow my business, and the email for confirmation is kevin@targetdial.co.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. Could you suggest a 30-minute time slot for this week that works for you?
Could we do September 4th at 8:30 p.m.?
Hold on a sec. Looks like 8:30 p.m. on September 4th is already booked. Do you have another time in mind?
Could we do September 4th at 9 p.m.?
All set, Kevin. Your meeting is booked for September 4th at 9 p.m. I'll send a confirmation email shortly.
So it actually scheduled it in 2023. So I just came back into our system prompt here, and I added the years 2024, so it knows to book 2024 for those times. Yeah, you can see it right here. It has all the details. So the next step that we're going to be building out is sending that email confirmation and building out a custom flow within GoHighLevel. All right, so I also noticed that if you go into Google Meets, it wasn't actually passing the information that we required. So we are going to show advanced settings right down here. And then from there, we'll be able to send notifications about the event creation to all guests. And we can also come in here and add attendees. And now this is where we can pass the information from the booking. So the name would just become name. And so then for the email, we're obviously going to have to run this again because currently we don't have access to the email. So we'll come in here, we'll talk with the assistant again. All right guys, so you see right there that now you got the email that passed through, you have your name and you have your purpose. So we can come back into here, we can show advanced settings and we'll add the attendees. We'll add 2. So the first attendee is obviously going to be ourselves. Right, so you put in your own name and your own email, just like that. And then for the second one, you'll come into tool calls, you'll come into function arguments, and you'll pass the name and the email, and that's it. And you want to set guests can modify the event to no. You can set the visibility to default, show me as busy, have that checked as well. And then you can also add reminders if you want. So this is sometimes helpful. I like to do an hour before, so 60 minutes. A day before, which is 10,080. So that's it. That's perfect. We'll go ahead. We'll hit OK. Now that portion is saved. We'll hit save. Now we have the appointments that are being booked successfully. And if you could also put in the description with the tool calls, if you come down in here, we'll do meeting for Kevin, purpose, looking to grow my business, and put in the phone number right here. And that's it. And we'll save this. And so now we have the availability that's set up, we have the booking that's set up. So this next portion is going to be, I guess, the most complicated part to build out. So for this, you're going to need GoHighLevel. So go ahead, log into your GoHighLevel. And the first thing that we're going to need to do is add a set variable. So just add that in. We're going to name it location ID. And then the variable value, if you hop in here, it'll be this right here. So you want to copy that portion of the URL, hop back here, and then we'll paste in the variable value. And now we need to create that contact and GoHighLevel, right? So we're going to have to click on the HTTP module. We're going to do a make an OAuth 2.0 request. And now we're going to have to add a new connection. And this is where we'll have to get the authorized URI, the token URI. We'll have to manually add the scopes that we need, and we'll need the client ID and the client secret. So this is the link that you can use. Just come click here. So you would just follow these steps, right? But for us, we're going to have to go to the marketplace. So we'll hop into the marketplace. You'll have to sign up and create an account. I already went ahead and did that. And then you'll come to somewhere looking like this, and you'll have the app dashboard, and we're going to have to create an app. So I'll show you how to do that from scratch. You're going to create an app. You're going to enter an app name, so call it whatever you want. For this, we'll call it Vapi 2. The app type is going to be set to private, and then you want to make sure that you have both agency and the sub account for the distribution type selected. We're just going to keep it as white label, and we'll go ahead, we'll hit create. Now that app has been created. All right, so you're going to want to put in your basic info. So we're going to add a photo, right? An app logo. You're going to enter a tagline. This could be whatever you want to enter. Since it's private, it doesn't really matter. We'll hit save. And now if you come into the advanced settings under auth, we're going to want to add specific scopes. So these are the scopes we're going to want to be adding. So I'm just going to go ahead and add those now. Now for the redirect URI, this is what we're going to use. If you actually read through the make.com help here, it actually gives you the wrong redirect URI. So this is the one that you're going to want to add. You're going to click add and then make sure that that's selected. And now we're going to generate our client ID and secret. So we'll click add. We'll give it a client name, and then it's going to generate your client ID and secret. And we're just going to want to save those. We'll hit OK. So now that has been generated, and we'll just go ahead and we'll hit save. And so now that we have the scopes, we have the redirect URI and the client ID and secrets, we can go back into make. And now we are going to need the authorized URI and the token URI. So in order to get the authorized URI, right, we're going to click on the authorization. We're doing the white labeled one. We're going to want to copy this, so everything before the question mark, and we'll paste that in here. And then in terms of the token URI, we'll need to get that. So we'll come into here. We'll have to go find the token portion. So you should see something right here, right? OAuth 2.0. We're going to expand that down, and it'll be get access token. And then this is the link that we are going to need. So we'll go ahead, we'll copy that, and we'll come back in here. We'll paste that in here. Now, for whatever reason, they put a space in between this, so you need to backspace that, otherwise it's not going to work properly. And then in terms of the scopes, we're going to re-add all of those scopes that we just added in our app. And once again, all this is in the community. So if you are looking to just plug and play a lot easier, that'll be available for you. All right, perfect. So we added in all of those properly, and now we'll paste in the client ID and the client secret that we got in the previous step. We're also going to make sure we turn on show advanced setting. Forgot to mention that part. And then for the scope separator, it's really important we set it to space. And once you've done all that, you should be able to just hit save. It's going to bring up, it's going to ask you to log in. So we're going to log in right here, and it should load into the account successfully. And now if we come back here, this should be authorized. All right. So now once that's done, we're going to want to create the contact, right? Because we're going to have to create them before we can add them to a workflow. So this is the post request that we're going to be doing. So we'll hop back into here. We'll set this to post, and this is the URL that we're going to be using. You can see these are the headers that we need, and this is the API version that we need. So we're going to be plugging in that API version. Just write in version, and we'll come back in here and we'll paste in the value. And we don't need any strings. We'll set the body type to raw, the content type to JSON application, and then the request content. Right, so this is the request content right here. We'll just copy that. We'll head back into here. We'll paste that in. And if it gives you some weird formatting like this, you can always just run that through ChatGPT, and now we'll have the proper formatting, and now we can pass all those values. So we'll go into tool calls, into arguments, and we should have the name right there, email right there. The location ID is going to be that variable that we had set at the beginning, and then the phone number, we'll choose the phone number right here, and make sure you parse the response. Super important that we choose that. So now that'll be passed properly into GoHighLevel. And if you wanted to test this out, you could right click, you could run this module only. It's going to ask for your location ID, so that's going to be this value right here. So you could paste in your location ID and go add item. So your ID you can get right from here. You click on tool calls, you'll get this ID right here. You got the type, which is function. Just make sure you remove the blank spaces, and then you'll have the function name. So our function name is not booking 3. In this case, it's check availability, right? Whatever you have it set to in your tools. So confirmation email 2. And then you'll have all these other things that we'll have to pass, such as the date, name, email, the purpose, and the phone number. And then we can hit OK, and you'll see we get a status code of 201. Contact should have been successfully created. And if you wanted to confirm this, you could just go into your GoHighLevel and click on your contacts, and you'll see that now that contact was successfully created. So that's exactly what we want. And so the next thing we want to do is add that tag. The issue here is you can't add directly to a workflow. You have to add them first with the tag, and then based on the tag, you can add them to an automation. So first we need to create tags. To do that, you come into settings, you'll find the tags field right here. Then you can create a new tag. So let's go ahead, create a new tag. We'll call it lead. Click create. Beautiful. That was a success. And now we'll create a new workflow. So we could just select a recipe. Create a workflow. We'll select from scratch. We'll go start from scratch. Call it the Vapi lead. We'll add the new trigger. And that trigger is going to be tag. So contact tag. And the filter is going to be tag added. And the tag that's going to be added is going to be the one that we just created, which is Vapi lead. So right away, that's going to add them to the workflow. Then we'll want to create an internal notification. So we can do internal notification to your phone. So you just put a custom number right here, right? So you can go ahead and configure that. And then after that, we might want to send some automated messages or follow-ups. So you can send an email, and that email is going to be from yourself. You can set the subject, upcoming meeting, and you can put in all the information. So here I'm just creating a 24 hours before wait action timer. We're going to wait for the event or appointment time, and we're going to choose before and then 1 day before. And if the timing of this step is already in the past, then we'll just move them to the next step. We'll hit save, and we'll want to send them either an email or a text just as a reminder. You could send them an SMS reminder. You could say, hey, contact first name, looking forward to seeing you on our call. Or you could say, wanted to confirm that you are still good for tomorrow. And then you can put in your name, user, first name. Save. Actually, we can just copy all the actions. So we'll go ahead, we'll copy all actions from here. We'll copy it here. Then we'll just set this to 1 hour before, wait, then put in 1 hour right here. Hit save actions. Now it's waiting an hour. And then once that hour hits, Say looking forward to seeing you on the call. And we'll hit save, and now we have that follow-up sequence. We get notified whenever someone signs up. We get the email, and that's pretty much it. So we'll hit save. Now that we have this automation built out, we'll head back into here. Now this is the creating a contact tag. So this becomes create contact, GoHighLevel. You can clone this, and then this would become becomes a tag in GoHighLevel. We'll hit OK. And then lastly, we're going to need a webhook. And for that, we can just copy this one up here. So we'll clone that. We'll drag it down here. And we can say information, email, sent. Hit OK. And now we'll save that. And if we run this module only, we're going to ask for the location ID. We can grab it from this step, paste that in. We'll need to add in the ID on all of those good things again, but we'll have to get all of these values back in here. And this will change. We'll add the tags. But we're going to need this back in here. We'll paste that in. And obviously we're going to need the contact ID. We have it from the previous step because we just created a contact. We'll just add in that contact ID right here. Then it's once again going to be a post request. Version can stay the same. And all we're going to need is we can remove all of these things. We're just going to format it like this. Change this to our tag that we called it Vapi lead. We'll parse response. We'll hit OK. All that should be taken care of. We can run this module only to make sure it works. We'll toss in that ID. Previous step, which is right here. Contact ID. Do that. Then we'll come back into here. We can paste that in. And now if we hit OK, trigger, we get a proper status code. Because it's in draft, it might not be working, so we might have to publish it. I'm just going to publish it, just remove that tag, just make sure it's working properly, re-add it, and now it worked properly. You could see it was triggered right away. So it's just because we had already had it added, we had to remove it and re-add it. If we come back into our automations and we go to our Vapi lead, you can see that there is one person enrolled, and that'll be this right here, and it's on the current action of the SMS. Because it's 24 hours before, it sends the SMS right away, as well as the email. I don't know if you can see on my phone, but right now it does say, can't really see it, but it does say new lead. We obtain that new lead, and then an hour before, get the follow-up again. And that's pretty much it, guys. So you're officially able to use Vapi. You can use Make. You can connect it to your Calendly calendar, and you can also connect it to GoHighLevel. If you got immense value out of this, if you did, I would appreciate it a ton if you drop the subscribe. It's free. It really helps support the channel, and it allows me to keep making great videos like this to be able to share with you. And with that being said, I hope you have an absolutely incredible day. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.